Next, on the old jalopy, we need to put in a radiator. This radiator I bought for a Ford motor in a 39. Nothing lines up to anything. So, I'm gonna cut some of these mounts off the frame and hopefully use those to move around and mount this darn thing. But I tested it with the front clip on and it seems like it's gonna fit. Give us a nice distance between the fan and the rad. So my plan here is to make a little perch that will have a bigger washer on top with some rubber bushings in between top and bottom to insulate it. I'm gonna get a hammer and persuade these nuts to go into this tube, weld them in, and then either weld these washers on or just put them on the top there. This is what I've come up with using shock shims I get from Bob Drake. They're super duper handy. You can buy them by the 50 pack, which is what I suggest. They come in different thicknesses and they're good for all kinds of little things like this. So I'm just gonna set this where I want and tack it. You're not supposed to weld next to your aluminum radiator, but we'll see if I break that rule.
I can be like a blind welder.
I think so. Spicy. Now I want to work on getting a new fuel tank in this. This fuel tank is 300 and who cares? And so that wasn't happening. And so I just got an aluminum, spun aluminum $100 tank that was the same width and a little bit taller, but not much. And so it'll hang down just a touch bit lower than this. But I don't, it sounds like there's a bunch of fuel in it, but then, yeah, there might be just a bunch of fuel in it. And so, we're gonna check. There she is. It's a rough day around here. It's a rough day. Really old dirt in my mouth. Really old gas on my hands. Really old gas tank, fuck out of the car. A little bit of old dead spiders and cobwebs up in here. Aside from that, what I plan to do is put this guy up in there. Right like that right there. The only feed on this tank is right in the bottom here. I don't know if I'll use that or I might drill a hole in it and put the line in from the top. First things first is to get this thing mounted up under here with a hole for the fuel cap up through the floor. Alright, new day here. The brackets for the tank, I think I'm going to take these, I'm going to weld a bolt sticking up on these because it's a pain in the butt. I usually end up welding either a nut or a bolt in these when I use these tanks, which surprisingly I use them a bit, because it's really hard to get in between here to, with the tank being right like that, to get that bolted down. So if I weld the bolts in here and have a little stud here, then from the underneath it'll be coming up in this area. So coming up from underneath, I can just zip the nuts on this side. So I need to figure out where I'm going to be. You can kind of see that's where the fuel tank is underneath, and you can see it's about our right width and everything. And I can maybe use like these lines to kind of know where I'm going to be top to bottom, but I can weld the holes from the top here when I figure out where we can be. As far as where I'm going to be, I need to figure out where these straps can go on the tank without getting in the way of the spout. I could put them right out on the ends maybe, but like I say, I want to be out of the way of the spout there. So I'm going to kind of figure out, measure out from the bottom in comparison to our edges and in comparison to this old access port for the fuel sender. There might be a chance that I'll screw a fuel sender onto the top of this, but more than likely it's going to be a stick that you stick down the hole there and see how much fuel you got in there. There she is. You can see kind of what you'd see from the back. Doesn't hang down too low. It's going to kind of suck to have the fuel line right there, but kind of put the little maybe like a P-trap looking loop to where it just goes straight back and then goes over, so you don't really see it. And that's what you see from the inside. And so you'll open the trunk, put in your fuel, and go get some girls.